What's up, y'all? I just wanted to hop on here real quick. This was a unannounced live, but I figured since I had everything set up here, I might as well hop on here. I'm in the middle of working on a project on an artist that I've worked with here this week in Nashville, and I'm in the middle of tuning a vocal. So I wanted to hop in here. I'm working in Studio One today. One of the reasons I love Studio One is because you have Melodyne integrated into everything. From the beginning of my producer days, I was using Melodyne, and I saw the edge that it gave me as far as whenever you tune a vocal and it's tuned in a way that it still sounds not tuned. And it depends on what type of music that you're working on, but I feel like Melodyne's really good at being really discreet with its tuning. And what I'm about to play for you is a vocal that's pretty well recorded, and it's one of those that the vocal sounds good even without tuning. But what I'm going to do here is just show you guys how I go about using Melodyne to even make it sound better. So this is just a simple piano vocal right now. Really, it's just a scratch track. And the artist you're about to hear is Kristen Cooper, and this is a song that we tracked earlier today. But I was just tuning up this vocal, and I decided to share it with y'all because there may be something cool that you learn along the way about Melodyne, because it's really not that hard to use as long as you just are patient with the notes. And before I even play anything, I'll just tell you guys what I'm going to do. Whenever I zoom in here, you can see where some of these lines are trailing off of the blob. That's what we'll call this orange note here, because that's really what it is. It's a note. But I want to be able to have these notes separated, so I'll click everywhere where I see those lines trailing off. And what that's going to do, it's going to allow that vocal to not be pulled to the wrong note, and it's going to allow that note to trail off, because part of good tuning is having your notes that aren't perfect and leaving that in there. So let me just play a little bit of this track, that way you can hear exactly what we're working with.
There's gonna be a rainbow if I can just wait out the rain. Gonna stumble in the dark, but there's a light on the way. Another letdown, another heartbreak, another night, tears are running down my face. But there's gonna be a rainbow if I wait out the rain.
So I do have Autotune on it, right? Every time that I get done comping a vocal, I'll throw some Autotune. And you can tell that, it's a great singer if they sound good just throwing a little bit of Autotune on there. And that could be fine if we were just doing a demo. But I'm trying to do a master. So what I'm going to come in here and do, and really the difference is just taking the extra step and doing this hand tuning. So in Studio One, all I have to do is Command M. That brings up Melodyne. It's like kind of always running in the background, which is really cool. So whenever I come in here, I can either select it, and when I double click in Melodyne, it plays it without the music. But I can also go to my playhead here and play it.
There's gonna be a rainbow if I can just wait out the rain.
Let me just make this a little bit
Gonna
smaller.
stumble in the dark, but there's a light on the way.
So right there, this drop right here, I think I would correct this. And it's not about correcting everything, but only the things that just... So just a little bit flat there, so I can just take it and see how this line is kind of moving up here. I'll cut it, then I'll pull it back down. I'll double click it, boop, and it snaps it down. And on these transitions here, what this guy does, it's kind of like this S curve. That just makes the transition between notes a little bit smoother.
On the way.
So it's hard to, until you just kind of mess with this on the vocals that you're working on at home, it'll make more sense then. But these are the main tools that I'm doing. I'm just cutting, I'm double clicking, and then I'm using this S curve here. And sometimes, now see, whenever I corrected that, I'm not even sure that I like that. So I'll undo that. And I like where that note sits without double clicking on it. So Melodyne is not coming back. It's not about coming in here and just double clicking everything hard on the note. It's about deciding musically which sounds best to correct.
Another letdown.
So it gets kind of weird here. Let's just go ahead and cut it.
Down, down another heart.
kind of goes a little sharp here, so I'll cut it here. And see, whenever I cut it, that blob kind of releases and goes right to where it wants to go as far as a note. So now you can see and correct it once you cut it. So when I double clicked that, it pulled it up. I don't think that's right. We'll listen to it.
Down another.
It don't sound bad, but let's see here.
Down another heart.
But it sounds better if it's kind of restrained to the note, the intended note.
Down another heart.
But it is kind of like a vocal inflection, so you don't want to like hard tune it to where it takes all the character out of it. And this really is the secret to getting a good,
Another heartbreak. Another heartbreak.
getting a good tuned vocal here.
Heartbreak. Another night tears.
So night, it's a little flat.
Another night tears are running.
That makes a world of difference, right? Let me undo that.
Another night tears.
Another night. You know, that's over exaggerating it. But if I double click it, boom.
Another night tears are.
Just pulls it in place. Here's it with the track.
Another letdown, another heartbreak, another night tears are running down my face. But there's gonna be a rainbow if I wait out the rain. I'm looking for the good in the bad.
Alright, looking for the good. Let me go to the chorus here.
Gonna stumble in the dark. Another letdown, another heartbreak, another night tears are running down my face. But there's gonna be a rainbow if I wait out the rain. I'm looking for the good in the bad. Looking for the good in.
So whenever we pull off on good here,
For the good in the bad.
I just want to correct these notes a little bit.
Looking for the good in the bad day.
But I don't want to correct them too much because if I separate them here, let's see.
For the good in the bad. For the good in the bad.
See what I'm saying? Like it almost sounds better when it's not. Let me see how quickly I can zoom in. If I had this directly on, this is where people make a big mistake with Melodyne, is they'll come in here and they'll double click everything. But if I listen to this,
Good in the.
it sounds too tuned. So if I undo,
Good in the.
I like the way that falls off and is a little flat for a minute because it corrects itself as the song progresses here. So what I'm trying to say is it's not bad for it to be out of tune sometimes.
Looking for the good in the bad days. In the bad days.
I can correct that.
Bad days. Bad days. Looking.
And what you really want to be aware of whenever you see these blobs like this that are kind of like going up and down. Now that's like, I forget what you would call it, but vibrato, I guess is what you would call it. You wouldn't want to come in here. I mean, I guess you could and chop it up like this, but really that's a natural tone. So what you want to do is kind of not mess with it. You can basically make large moves like this. You can highlight everything and drag it and then see where it sounds best. But I wouldn't try to flatten all these out because when you do this, well, let me see.
Days.
That's where it sounds tuned too.
Days.
See the artifacts that happen there?
Days.
Whenever a vocal has vibrato in it, if you take out all the feeling by overtuning it, that's kind of what it sounds like. And if you come in here and split them all up, like I was telling you earlier, it's kind of tempting to do that and pull it to the wrong note whenever they need to be kind of out of tune.
Days.
And it just sounds better with that, you know. It's kind of like whenever you're bending a guitar string back and forth. It's out of tune and in tune, and that's what makes it, that's what gives it feeling. And so a lot of people, whenever they get a vocal back and it's overtuned, it just has all the feeling out of it. Let's see here if I can get this a little bit zoomed out.
Looking for the up on the down days. Looking for the up on the down days.
Come in here, and that's what I like to do. I'll just listen to a little bit soloed. I'll listen to it with the track.
For the up on the down days.
Usually when I'm making a correction, I'll listen to it by itself. Then I'll play it back with the track.
But there's gonna be a rainbow. If for sure is the world's gonna keep on turning. Nothing lasts forever. Even the bad days get better.
And And so you have a long note like this. This is very common. So with a long note like this, another tool that I like to use is, very first I'll come in here and break it up. So it wants to kind of go a little bit sharp. That's okay. And I'll just come in here and correct the notes that want to be sharp. And then the next thing I can do, highlight everything and change it to pitch drift. And what this is doing is it saves the vibrato, and it's not going to flatten out the vibrato, but it changes like the almost like the slope of the vibrato. And it's hard to explain again unless you're used to using this. But I'm showing you the tools that I mostly use, and this is very common on long notes like this. People will go sharp or they'll go flat, and meaning like they'll hold the front of the note, but usually they have a tendency to go trail off one way or the other. And the way to fix that is using this pitch modulation tool or the pitch drift tool, which I use the pitch drift tool most of the time. So again, I'm not going to really tune this too hard because I don't think this one's too bad.
Bad days get better.
Yeah, and again, those notes that are kind of trailing off a long time, you don't want to overtune them because that's a moment where the ear's really like listening to that note. And if you tune it really hard there, that's what gives it away, that it's like really overtuned. So I'm gonna hop in here and go to the second verse. When we were creating this in the studio earlier today, I started doing these strings, and I'll show you guys this. It really like brought some life to the session because it was just a piano vocal. And I was like, man, strings would really be cool. So check this out. This is like a quick little pass that I laid down in the session today. And I'm using Contact Stradivari violin, Stradivari cello, and I'll also have the Apollo guitars in the background. So this came together very quickly in our session today, and it didn't really take all that much time, especially when you have a great song, great vocalist, and some great sounds. And I just very quickly pulled up, some of these patches. I'll solo them up for you so you hear what each layer is doing. So we're talking like 2 fingers at a time kind of here, playing just intervals, pulsing on the root note. And this is when it comes to producing a song, it doesn't really take that much. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm literally like what they call hunting, pecking. If you're on a keyboard, that's what I'm doing here. I'm not playing like full notes or anything. And whenever I add this other layer here, so that was the Stradivari violin, but if I go to the Stradivari cello, listen what it brings to it. Yes. And watch when I trail off the back end here. This walk up. And that's just like a little change there in the production. That's one little change that I did on the bass cello here. And the cool thing about this is we can add in this extra layer of, I love the Apollo guitars here. It sounds awesome. I have just a couple notes here pulsing in the background. This is what's happening. Someone asked, what's my work email so I can message you? My work email is forrest@musiccityplaybook.com. Send me an email. So some atmosphere stuff going on with the Apollo guitars. This is a great plug-in. Also have the LFO tool on this to kind of give that pulsing in the background. And I've been soloing up stuff. Let me show y'all how this verse 2 sounds in reference to everything.
Sometimes I wake up wondering where did all the time go.
All right, go. Let's go back to tuning because that's what we came here to do. I get sidetracked. All right.
Sometimes I wake up wondering where did all the time.
So did y'all see that? I just on the part that really stuck out to me was just the aw. So that's all that I'm tuning.
Sometimes I wake up wondering where did all the time go.
and go. Go falls just a little flat. So let me get it.
Go.
So I just double clicked it. I separated it there and I double clicked it. Now I'm gonna, okay, now I can probably show you the pitch drift. Now, I don't know if you can see how this slope of this thing's gonna change, but I would use the pitch drift here. So it's a very minor change, but it's just, I don't know if you can see how that's changing. I know that's annoying, but that's what that pitch drift does, is like if you don't want to move the whole thing and you want to keep the integrity of like the vibrato of the note. Let me get back out here.
And while love left me standing out in the cold, the cold.
Again, cold, that's just a hair flat, no big deal. I'll separate everything, double click.
The cold, cold, cold. Face a train wreck.
Awesome, I'm glad you're digging it. I see y'all in the chat, and I appreciate, let me see if I can share these things. Yeah, so I'm been messing with the StreamYard, so when you guys chat now while we're live, I can share your comments. So, what's up, Nico? Thanks for hanging out. So I'm still learning the StreamYard, and you guys can email me again at Forrest, Forest, at musiccityplaybook.com, and let me know what type of lives that you want me to do, and I'll try to do more of this stuff.
Train wreck out of nowhere. I've been knocked down, but I'm still here.
Yeah, Kristen's sounding good.
Face a train wreck out of nowhere. I've been knocked down, but I'm still here. I'm gonna get through it the only way that I know. Way that I know.
So, okay, this is a good teaching moment for the notes here. This will trip people up too, because they'll come in here, highlight it, and just boop boop. They'll double click it, and it really doesn't.
No.
Actually, I lied. That sounds really good.
No.
Usually when you click it like that, when you have this little note trailing up here, sometimes it doesn't sound good, but other times it does, like right now. I still would probably come in here and separate it like this. You know, now look how different it looks, because this is where the notes want to go. Now I can see that, boop, boop, I can raise that.
No. Looking, no.
Sorry, it's getting kind of squirrely there. Let me back it off. Undo.
No.
Now it sounds a lot better.
Gonna get through it the only way that I know.
Way. That's what I'm going after.
Way that I know. Way that I know.
So I guess this would be like a boring video to a lot of people, but let me tell you, if you learn this skill, people will love working with you. Artists will love working with you. Why? Because they're going to show up and leave with a vocal that sounds really good. They're going to sound their best, especially if you have a good vocal chain. You give them a good headphone mix. They're going to be confident in the studio. So the reason I push learning production is it's like one of the bigger things in my career that have helped me do this for a long time. Mr. Ryan Ball, what's up? You know all about the Melodyne, and I'm sure you can tell everybody here. Ryan Ball is somebody that, for years now, we go back, we met at an ASCAP Expo, and he was a producer, just trying to get things going. Now he's signing a big old pub deal. He's got a radio single coming out soon on Jimmy Allen. I'm very proud of him. But, it's one of those things that for a long time now, I've kind of, I guess, motivated or encouraged other people to stick to the dream. Because, we all have that thing of wanting to go home or thinking that it's not going to happen. But the fact is, if you educate yourself with these tools, and Melodyne's a tool, production's a tool, getting better at songwriting, that's a tool for you to survive and live a creative life and a business. And I'm very proud of people like Ryan that stick to it and can get a pub deal and get a hit song and buy a brand new truck and all that stuff.
Bad days.
I say that because last time we went to Chewy's, he had this nice Ford truck.
Oh, looking for the good and the bad days. Looking for the up on the
Up. That's where I'm going after.
looking for the up on the down. Yeah.
All right, that's another pitch drift that I'm doing. On the pitch drift that I'm pulling it, but again, it keeps the curve.
For the up on the down days.
So if I didn't use pitch drift and I was just double clicking it, it would sound good, but this kind of finesses it even more in tune, with it still kind of keeping the natural sound of the voice and it not being so robotic. That's why, you know, some people use Autotune exclusively, and I really think that Melodyne's better for going in and really, you know, making it sound pro without it sounding overtuned. Hey man, I appreciate you commenting, appreciate you being here, appreciate you being here. I really do, because it's one of those things. I look for this information online a lot, you know, in 2008, 2009 when I was moved to Nashville learning how to do this, and it wasn't out there. And so I just kind of spent hours doing this, and you know, a lot of times, even talking to you guys right now, I can tune this vocal without even really listening. I can just break it up to where I see it, the notes out of place, and I can see where it needs to be corrected. And of course, you don't want to go too far without giving it a listen. So let me do this.
Only way that I know. Looking for the good and the bad days. Looking for the up on the down days. Looking for the blue and the gray skies. Or silver lining. One thing I know for sure is lining. One thing I know for
So a no.
I know for no, I know for sure.
Right?
And then one thing I know for sure.
And it sounds like nothing ever happened.
And then one thing I know for sure is,
You know, and before all that, I don't want to undo all that, but let's just say it sounds better now.
sure is the world's gonna keep on turning. Nothing lasts forever. Even the bad days get better.
Love all those Apollo guitars. And again, y'all saw where I broke this up, you know.
Get better.
Yeah, you know, I agree. These are hard to find for free because this is the boring stuff. I mean, everybody wants to know like the quick vocal chain or, you know, the best new plugin. And Melodyne is a third-party plugin, but the thing about it is this is not necessarily like the sexy thing to talk about. And, you know.
The bad days get better.
But if you learn how to do it.
Better.
You know, let me just go in here and really doctor this one because I can split it up even more.
Better. Get better.
All right, see, I'm just really listening and it's getting too crazy.
Get better. Better. Get better.
And see, whenever I use this S tool right here, it just kind of connects them better.
Get better.
That sounded pretty good.
Times I wake up wondering where did all the time go, and why love left me stand, love left me
Left.
left me stand.
And see, the thing with Autotune, if you just left it's running. Actually, it's not running through Autotune right now. But if I just had Autotune on, sometimes it'll correct it to the wrong note. So the lazy man way of tuning is just throwing on Autotune. Sometimes it works, but to really get a professional sounding record, you got to spend the 20, 30, 40 hour and a half sometimes it takes to tune a vocal.
Left me standing out in the cold. Faced a train wreck out of nowhere. I've been knocked down, but I'm still here. I'm gonna get through it the only way that I know.
And sometimes correcting it to the wrong note helps you hear.
Way that way that I know. Looking for the good, looking for the good in the bad days, for the good in the days, looking for the up on the down days, looking for the blue in the gray skies, or a silver lining. One thing I know for sure is the world's gonna keep on turning, world's gonna keep on turning.
So keep, it's like, it looks like everything's out here, but it sounds good to my ear, but I'm still going to come in here and give it a little chop.
Keep on.
Now you can see. And this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes notes start on one note, but end up somewhere else. And sometimes you want to keep that.
Keep on.
See, that sounds better, I think.
Keep on.
Rather than keep, like just having it straight. Sometimes having, even though that's not the right note,
keep on.
See how it hits the ear better than it being hard tuned.
Gonna keep on turning.
That just sounds unnatural. So leave it. Keep. That's not the right note for our song, but for this vocal, you want to leave that tune to that.
Gonna keep on turning. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts for.
See how it's happening? I'm changing the shape up.
Nothing lasts for. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever.
All right. And when I corrected that, now that end of that's too sharp, so let me break it up. And then whenever I separated it, that's how Melodyne's cool, because it just kind of snaps to where it wants to go. And you can really see what's going on. So that's really the trick to it, is going in there and breaking all those things apart.
It's forever. It's forever. Ever. Even the bad days get better.
This comment right here, Mr. Luke Davis, appreciate you supporting the playbook, man. I've seen your name quite a bit. And that's the reason I'm in Studio One. You know, and it's kind of annoying. I'm annoyed that I love Studio One. Why? Because I've spent the last year building out like hours and hours on a production course. It's all in Logic, and I'm aware most people are in Logic. But even at Kristen's session earlier, we did one song, or I started one song in Logic, and I did the other in Studio One. I was just getting some work tapes down, but I was so like the workflow in Studio One is so good, and the drag and drop plugins. I got a newer laptop that came in the other day, and I downloaded Studio One, and then I downloaded Logic, and I tried to load everything, and I've got so many plugins in Logic that ain't popping up on the new laptop, but in Studio One everything just runs smooth, which is weird because it's not even like an Apple product, but I just have less problems out of it. I feel like the workflow's better. I can do things with my mouse, like with one hand, a lot easier. It scrolls just like Ableton does. There's so many things about Studio One that I love. And like I said, it's annoying. A lot of people that will comment on the channel, you know, like, why don't you do something in Logic, or good to see you back in Logic, or vice versa, Studio One. I know people are hardcore about it. I look at them as just different tools. It's like two different brands of guitars to me. You know, it's like I like Martins and I like Fenders. And I think Fender just purchased Studio One, right? Let me know in the chat box if that's for real, but I think I read that somewhere. But I really just love the workflow in it, and Melodyne integration is huge for me because I use Melodyne for everything.
Get by on the low days, keeping it together on fall apart days, looking for the blue in the gray skies, or a silver lining. One thing I know for sure is the world's gonna keep on turning. Nothing lasts for.
Nothing.
Nothing lasts.
Need some help there. Break these notes up.
Nothing lasts. Nothing lasts. Nothing lasts for. Nothing lasts forever. Lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever.
Forrest at Music City Playbook is my email. So I see in the chat box you have city before music.
Forever, even the bad days get better.
Hey, but being straight up, I don't work with everybody. Meaning, like, if you email me, it's like I've took on an artist launch boot camp the last 7 weeks. This is the first time this year, all year, that I've taken up and opened up to work with artists, and I will do it again. But it's not going to be something that I do year round. It's not something that I can do year round. It's too much on my time. But at the same time, that's why I like to make videos like this, for the times that, you know, people that can't be there live can watch videos like this and learn from it and see how, you know, I do produce records, and see really not necessarily about how I produce it, but how you can learn from what I'm doing and you produce your own records and build cool shit in your basement, you know?
Better.
More importantly to that, build the cool shit in your basement and get paid for it. Shit, that's why I learned this stuff. I wanted to be able to do music and get paid.
Get better. Get better.
All right, we can do a little bit with that right there.
Get better. Get better. Get better.
I was the kid that, like, you know, grew up in playing in church bands and didn't want to grow up, you know. That sounds a lot better.
Get better.
Yeah, harmonies would be awesome on this too.
Get better.
That sounds a lot more better. And the reason I say that, it's like, just having that light tune on there, it doesn't sound tuned to me. It just sounds good, you know. I wish I could delete this, can I? I can block that user putting that crap in my chat. Spamming me, man. Get on out of here.
Get better.
All right.
It's gonna get.
Let me zoom into what's going on there. Maybe this will gonna get better.
It's gonna get better. Better. Get better. Get better. Better. Get better.
Yep, y'all didn't think I was gonna fix that, did you?
It's gonna get better.
But it got better.
It's gonna get. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get. It's gonna get better. Get better.
I don't know if I'm.
It's gonna get better.
I don't know if I'm bold enough to, like, sing Harms live. But that would be what I would be doing next.
It's gonna get better.
Yes, I do have a
Better.
I have a question here. Do I do a music program to get better? I have something called the Pop Country Producer Challenge. This is misleading because I'm in Studio One right now. The Pop Country Producer Challenge is all on Logic Pro X. I go through 4 different songs, including this new Dustin Lynch song that's on the radio right now. About to drop a YouTube video on that. Shows you how to produce all that stuff. I think the next thing that I'll work on is adding more content to that and really filling it out as a production suite. I want it to have everything that I've learned in Logic Pro X. And then maybe eventually down the road in 2022, I'll dive into stuff in Studio One, because I do work in Studio One more often these days just because I feel like I'm quicker in Studio One now, just by Melodyne integration and things like that. So that's why I think that this is important, learning this. So hopping right back in here.
Up wondering where did all the time go?
That's just the raw vocal.
And why love.
I'll show you my vocal chain real quick. Just got a little bit of de-essing. Using the FabFilter de-esser. It's great. Just any of the presettings in this is great on a vocal. Actually, I'll show you what it's doing.
Love left me standing.
So on standing,
And why love left me standing.
about 4 to 6 dB on the S there. Followed up with a little bit of RVox. And the reason I like the RVox is I just do a little bit of light compression, and I bring the gate up to pull out any room noise or whatever. I kind of gate it with that. And then actually on this I'm following it with another de-esser.
But I'm still here.
And this other de-esser's not really.
I'm gonna get through it the only way that I know. Looking for the good in the bad days.
I guess this de-esser's really not doing much.
Or silver
There it is.
lining, one thing I know for
Same thing with de-ess, and I look at it as compression. So do it in layers. Don't go to one de-esser and think that you can get all your de-essing done at one stage. Yes, I do like Soothe. I think Soothe's great. I think they're different plugins. So I would use them for different reasons. But let me show you one just because you mentioned that, because I've got Smooth Operator here. And this is what Smooth Operator looks like. And it's kind of the same idea as Smooth.
in the bad days. Looking for the up on the down days.
Whenever I pull that down,
Looking for the
really compresses it way too much.
blue in the gray skies.
But what this does is supposed to, remove unwanted frequencies. I can get this vocal bus setting.
Or silver lining, one thing I know for sure is
Let me see if I like it with or without it. Let me see in the context.
wondering where did all the time go, and why love left me standing out in the cold.
It sounds good. Hold on.
Sometimes I wake up wondering where did all the time go, and why love left me standing out.
It does get clearer. It's like something in the mids, Song is simple, but way better than if I fully produce one. How do you go about it and make a few instruments for the whole song? So what you're listening to is not a fully produced thing. I track this this song was tracked an hour ago or so, and I was just tuning this vocal after the session, and I'm just in the beginning stages of producing it. I literally played this piano part one pass, and I'm not saying that it's so great because it's one pass. I'm saying there's very minimal time spent on this session, but it's just one of those songs that came together real quick. It's an emotional song. It just needs a good vocal, a piano, and a couple layers, And so if you have plugins like this Apollo, that Apollo guitars is just so cool, So yeah, I'll track the vocal, and then I'll fully produce the song later. And I always like starting with the vocal, and I work with artists that, are used to singing to a fully produced track. I like to start with the vocal and then build my production around the vocal.
On the low days, keeping it together on fall apart days, looking for the blue in the gray skies, or silver lining.
And now that I've got my Melodyne in there, I'll go ahead and give it like a 77 retune speed in the right key on my Autotune. Always go to alto tenor, or I guess I could go to soprano on this, really.
One thing I know for sure is the world's gonna keep on turning.
Let's see what we got on the reverb bus. We got the UAD EM 250. This is what it sounds like.
Silver lining.
Oh, well, I was trying to solo. This is where Studio One does trip me up sometimes. It's like I don't understand whenever I solo some things. Like I just want to hear my bus, but it's soloing everything. Maybe I can do that. Okay.
And then one thing I know for sure is the world's
just letting you guys hear what that reverb's doing, what type of tone it is. We just got.
It's gonna keep on turning. Nothing lasts forever.
So just having that subtly in there, I think it really fits nice. But yeah, just going back to the production thing.
World's gonna keep on turning. Nothing lasts forever.
It goes verse chorus with nothing but piano vocal.
Better.
Little piano part, and it's cool to bring in more instruments usually on verse 2. So having your verse 2 kind of build out right here, make a swell.
Sometimes I wake up wondering where did all the time go, and why love left me standing out in the cold. Faced a train wreck out of nowhere. I've been knocked down, but I'm still here. I'm gonna get through it the only way that I know. Looking for the good in the bad days, looking for the up on the down days, looking for the blue in the gray skies, or a silver lining. One thing I know for sure is the world's gonna keep on turning. Nothing lasts forever, even the bad days get better.
Yeah, the harmony's gonna be nice on this. Again, I'm not brave enough to sing it live. That'd be too much. But I think I want to go ahead and hop off here. Showed you guys how to tune a vocal or how I go about it. I think this vocal sounds pretty dang good now. Simple vocal chain on it. And thanks for the comment on the smooth operator. I think you suggested soothe, but the smooth operator really came in nice tonight. So I think I'm going to leave that on the vocal chain and go ahead and hop off here. So hope you guys are having a great night. And if I don't see you again, which I probably will, but have a good Christmas, all that good stuff. Hope you have some time off of work, whatever you're doing. Spend some time with your family. And hope you get to make some music. Appreciate you guys hopping on here, spending time with me. We'll see you guys next time.